the day and night from the timberline.
Hello folks, Aaron McKinney with this week's Iowa Hunting and Fishing Report for June 25th. As you can see, I got some new digs around me, got some bourbon on the wall, got some pictures behind me. So we're in a new spot, but same old fishing report. And the fishing report sounds pretty good, especially if you're a catfisherman. We'll get right to it. Starting off, reached out to 4 bait and tackle dealers here in the state of Iowa. Kind of the same report. Catfish are doing very well, especially the flathead bites going well. So you guys like to catch those really big flatheads or even the big blues in Mississippi River and Missouri River. By all means, they are going very, very good. Spoke with Anchor in Bait and Tackle in Council Bluffs. This is a cool shop. You need to check that out if you're in the area. They have a really, really huge assortment of bait. They actually go out and catch some of that stuff themselves, butcher it, freeze it, fresh, whatever you need. They have goldfish. They have anything you want. I was kind of impressed when I looked at this with this shop. So catfish are biting really good on cut bait, shad, cut carp in the river. Goldfish, live goldfish is also going very, very well. They said the flathead bite is better on green sunfish, which usually true, green sunfish, bullheads. But they are catching very, very quality sized fish, 20, 30, 40 pounders. So it is the time of year to go out and fish those really big females if you want to catch some big catfish, especially on the rivers here in Iowa. They also informed me, though, the bass bite is going really well in the area, down in that Council Bluffs area. Topwater, paddletail is working very well for bass. Colors, blue and purple. That's kind of an old staple here in Iowa. Blue and purple works very, very well. So that's in your Council Bluffs area. The next one we got is Johnston Bait and Tackle, Johnston, Iowa. Right there in the Des Moines area. Again, flatheads are biting really good on chubs and green sunfish, along with smaller carp. And again, flatheads usually bite better on live bait. You can catch them on fresh cut bait, but it is better to set live bait if you can, if you're using bank poles or if you're using rod and reel. Bass are biting soft plastics and worms. I'm guessing they're probably going out a little deeper this time of the year. The water's getting a little warmer. So you want to make sure to fish slower, those soft plastics. If you have some electronics, that would sure help out as well. Drums, if you enjoy catching drums, and they're a fun fish to catch, they fight really hard. They're catching a lot of drums on worms and crawdads in the river. And small walleye are biting at Big Creek, but that's early in the morning or late in the evening. And that's kind of par for the course this time of year for walleye. Let's go on to Lakeside Outdoors, Rathbun, Iowa. Great area down there. I love going down to southern Iowa. A lot of scenery, a lot of big bucks, a lot of good fishing. Right now, they are doing very well on stripers, and walleye are biting really well right now at Rathbun. Minnows and worms is what it sounds like for the most part. Crappie bite has slowed some, but you can still pick a few up in the deeper water. They're off their spawning beds, they're moving out deep. So you can maybe do a little trolling for them or a little vertical jigging if you can get on them with your electronics. Or just move around till you find fish. Remember, don't stay in one spot too long. If you're not catching anything, move. And then our last spot for this week's Iowa Fishing Report is Iowa River Outdoors in Swisher, Iowa. They informed us Lake McBride, the bass and the crappie are biting, and the crappie are small jigs, minnows of course. Bass are biting on topwater and frogs, which is really, really fun thing to do. If you've never frog fished for a bass, I highly recommend getting out and doing that. And there are a lot of nice catfish coming out of the rivers and the Coralville Reservoir. So pretty much par for the course like last week. Catfish bite is picking up, especially those big flatheads and those big blues on the east and west sides of Iowa in those bigger, the big rivers, Mississippi and Missouri, and even some of those tributaries they can get up into as well, and that makes for a good fishing spot. So that kind of wraps up the Iowa Hunting and Fishing Report for this week, but we're going to take a little break to do a fletching demo for you, show you how to save a little bit of money. This is very easy to do. It'll pay for itself very quickly. So right now, let's take a look at that. Welcome, folks, to this week's archery tip. We're going to try to save you a little bit of money by teaching you how to fletch your own arrows. You've heard it's really, really easy, and it is. It's not hard once you figure it out. I'm going to go over just kind of the very basics of it. You can always take it more into depth if you want by setting more helical, which means more twist in your veins, or not. And then where you want to fletch on the arrow, some people fletch their arrow way higher up the shaft. than down. So that's all personal preference. So you can kind of tune into that when you start doing it yourself. But I'm just going to give you a quick once over on how to do these arrows, and it'll save you up to 60, 70, 80 bucks a dozen. So, you know, it doesn't take very long to pay for your fletching jigs. And fletching jigs, I'm using a Bitzenberger dial-a-fletch with a little bit right offset. Again, they have straight offset, they have left helical, left offset, so all personal preference for that. But the dial-a-fletch, they cost about $100, a little over. You can buy cheaper ones that are plastic from other companies. I wouldn't recommend it just because glue sticks to plastic and metal, but it's a lot easier to get off metal without ruining your jig. But there is ways around it. So you purchase what you can afford. Do your reviews on your jigs that you want to buy. Veins. Today I'm fletching blazers. Sometimes certain veins fletch a lot easier than other veins. So again, you want to make sure you do your research on that before you start, because it can become a headache. The other thing you always want to check, especially if you're just fletching your used arrows, is to make sure your arrows are straight. I got just a cheap little plastic roller here just to show you what can happen. Now this one's a lot out of whack, but you can kind of see how that is. And so maybe you can see it that way too, but you can see how that really wobbles. So that arrow is probably a goner. So you just want to get rid of that and don't refletch that, because that can affect how your arrows will fly, even if it has a little bit of wobble. Everything that has any bend or anything like that in your arrow, just get rid of it, especially if you're shooting a carbon arrow. If it has little hairline cracks at the front or the back, get rid of it. Always flex your arrows once you're getting ready to fletch them, especially if they're used. Make sure there's no damage or anything to them, because that can become very dangerous. So again, make sure to check your arrows are straight before you fletch, and make sure there's no cracks in them. So before we get started, I'm going to go over what we have and what you need to start out with. Again, you need a jig. We kind of went through that a little bit in the intro, but you need your vanes. Today I'm using blazers. Customer wants some orange blazer vanes with orange wraps. The reason I like to do wraps is pretty simple. Whenever you fletch to your arrow, you leave a really sticky glue residue on, and when you take it off, it really is a much harder scraping that off. It seems sometimes you even almost scrape some carbon off of that shaft, so that can affect its integrity, and especially how it flies. So that's why I like to just fletch with a wrap. A lot easier to take that wrap off with your tool right here, your fletching removal tool. Got some glue, got some Q-tips, very important. Got a primer pen. This one just happens to be Easton brand. That's going to help to clean those channels in the fletchings. Make sure they're clean before you put them on your shaft of your arrow. Always like to have a rag. We went through the rollers. Make sure your arrows are really straight and there's no damage to them. I got a little bit of cup of acetone right here. That's going to help clean the shaft before we fletch. So let's move this out of the way for right now. I'm just going to go over how I put on the wraps. They make all different kinds of wraps, from 4-inch, 3-inch, 10-inch, 9-inch. See here how this has a boning. There's boning there. So you always want that boning to go down towards your point of your arrow. So there, I got that lined up in my little mat. Everything's straight. This arrow has a collar on it, you can see, so that wrap does not like to go under that collar. So I'm going to take the knock off. I'm going to take that collar off, and you can see where I put just a teeny little mark. That's where I'm going to line up my wrap with. And it's very simple. You just get it lined up, bring it straight, and roll. Make sure you're good. Roll that through. Make sure you have no bubbles. Roll it nice and tight, just like so. Then we left that little space for our collar. Put our collar back over. We're going to put our knock back in. Very simple. I like to line up my knock so my index vein is going to line up with my insignia right there. So they'll all be pretty compatible, pretty much look the same when they're in your quiver. So line that arrow up, insignia right with that knock right there. And you'll kind of see as we get going. So once we have that ready to go, we know our arrow's new, so it's straight. We don't have to worry about that. I'm going to take our jig. We take our arrow. Now on this Bitzenberger, there's a flat spot right here. That's where you always start. If you can see it from that camera, here it is on this camera. You always want to start with that flat spot straight up, and you'll be able to tell when you start using these, you can just turn it through. And there'll be 3 spots, so we're going to 3 fletch. It'll space them out nice and evenly for us. So we're going to put our arrow right in there, just like so. Pretty easy, folks. So we're going to take our leopard color vein, which is going to be our index vein, our different one. And you can fletch them all the same color if you want. Usually I fletch mine all white with a white wrap. I just see it better, and I like how it looks. So when you look at the Bitzenberger jig, this is kind of old, but you can see some lines on there, and you can see where I put a little white mark. That's usually where I line up the back of my vein, just like that. Before I put any glue or do anything, I put it on here. See how it's got a magnet? And I double check to make sure everything is lined up perfect, front, back, sides, because the last thing you want to do is have it dry when it's not completely level and flat with the arrow, because that's going to cause you have to redo it, and that's no fun, and that's time you don't need to spend doing. So first and foremost, I will take my primer pen. Doesn't take long. Just going to wipe it down the channel of that vein, just like so. Just make sure you clean anything off of it. Once that's done, give it dry. Doesn't take long. Got my glue, so you don't need to use a lot of glue, and it's just a little bit right down the shaft. Perfect. That's all you need to do. Make sure you got a nice, even, small amount of glue. And then what you do is you click that to your magnet, you pull that back until it hits flush, and then you just push straight down. Don't push too hard, just a little bit. Make sure everything's lined up on the front, back, on the sides. I'm going to take my Q-tip once I get that done. See, I have a little excess there. Just wipe that off. Make sure it's good and clean. And then I will wipe off the back side as well, just to make sure. The other thing about using a wrap, it makes your arrows look much, much cleaner. It's a lot easier to see the glue on a bare shaft than it is on a wrap. So again, you can use what you want. Costs a little bit more money to do a wrap. I think they run about $1 a piece if you buy them at a store, so not terrible. So we're gonna let that glue dry for, this glue you can let dry for 3 or 4 minutes, and you can keep going. So we'll let that dry, and then we're gonna come back and show you what we do after this gets dry. All right, that's been a couple minutes, so you can take and pull that straight off, just like that, and I just lay it flat. I'll take it out just to make sure everything looks good, because I don't want to get 3 veins deep and notice there's a problem with it and have to start all over. So we're good there. Then here, so everything's set right in the channel. Now we're just going to take and we're going to turn it till it clicks. That's all you got to do. So that's going to set us up right for our next vein. So repeat the procedure again. Line it up with my mark I have on my jig. I've already ran the primer pen over this one, so I'm just going to double check, make sure everything lines up good and everything sets flush, which it does. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at this. It just takes time, just like anything, but it's not hard. So again, we just take a little bit of glue. Doesn't need to be much. A lot of times I overglue, but it doesn't hurt anything if you got some Q-tips on you. So we got that, and then again I'm going to see where everything's flush there. And I'm just going to push down, make sure everything's good, everything's lined up, so we're good there. Got just a little bit of glue. We're going to wipe that off. We're going on the back side, wipe that off. Get rid of that. So that's second one done, easy peasy. So we're gonna give that a couple more minutes and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to do the third vein and we'll check out how everything finished up. All right, folks, that's been a couple minutes. So we're gonna, again, just open that up, pull it off, and we're gonna rotate it to the next. Pretty easy. We're gonna take our vein. Again, we line it up with our little mark we have right there. In, make sure everything's nice and level. Again, I already cleaned this vein prior, so I'm going to check, make sure everything lines up. So I'm just a little bit off there. Again, that's why we check it. And then we'll just slide that a little bit down. Double check. Everything looks really good there. So we take our glue. Down the shaft, make sure it's good and covered. There we go. Click it on the magnet, back so the veins are lined up, then we push it down, just like so. Make sure everything's good. Take our Q-tip, wipe any excess off, which we don't really have any on this one. So we're good there. Okay, so that finishes the arrow that quick. And that's going to save you at least $5, $6, $7 an arrow. So we'll give this a couple minutes and then we'll show you the completed product. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. We're going to, again, open our clamp up, take the arrow out. I'm going to push this clamp or that jig over there. So again, you can see right there, nice, even. We got a little bit of a right helical on it. It's clean. Again, it's really clean when you use a wrap. You can't see any of that glue. Whereas you use a shaft, you can. But that's okay. You can do it however you want. If you want to do it as inexpensive as possible, you can buy veins that are 15, 20 cents. And your glue's a few bucks. Again, it'll pay for itself within a couple dozen arrows. If that. And plus you can do it for your friends if you want. Because I know a lot of people hate waiting for their pro shop guy to fletch arrows. Not a lot of people, but some. You know, you want to get your arrows, and I will tell you it's a time-consuming job when you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arrows to do. So it's something you can learn very easily and save yourself a lot of money pretty quickly. And I know archery's gotten expensive, so it's a good hobby to pick up. You can do a lot of cool things. You can even get into dipping your arrows with paint. It's not really paint, but a style of lacquer paint, and do it that way and put pinstripes on and the whole 9 yards if you're really inclined to do so. But there's lots of ways you can do it, make them look good. You can use feathers, veins, kind of make your arrow to you. So if you have any questions, play the video back. You can always DM me in the messages. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube, Facebook that'll help you out, a bunch of good ones. It's a very, very easy hobby to do, and it's going to save you some money in the end. So hope you appreciate this video. Stay tuned for the rest of the Iowa Hunting and Fishing Report, and we'll see you next time on the Archery Tip of the Week. I hope you enjoyed that quick break on how to fletch your arrows. As you see, it's very, very easy, very cost effective. You know, arrows now are $5, $6, $7 to have them refletched by a professional, and you can definitely do it by yourself and save yourself $50, $60 a dozen or more by fletching them yourself. So it will pay for itself very quickly. I highly urge you to try that. You don't have to wait on somebody to fletch your own arrows. The winner, we got a winner for this week from last week because we're going to give a hat away, is Ken Cruzy. You won the Iowa Sportsman hat for this week, so we'll be DMing you in the messages. And make sure you look for that, and we'll get it mailed out to you. All right, folks, that kind of wraps it up this week for the Iowa Hunting and Fishing Report. Make sure you like, share, follow. It really helps out our channel. It helps us to grow and bring you up-to-date fishing reports, and it'll help get me out more on the road a little bit. Check out some of these places as well. Again, take your dad, your mom, your kids, your brother, your sister, a good friend, anybody fishing. It's a very, very economical and a very, very great thing to do. It's relaxing. You can just go out and enjoy time with your family and friends. So make sure to do that as you go forward this summer. And I hope you like what you saw, and tune in for next week's Iowa Hunting Fishing Report.